Welcome to the Conservative Book Society. Today we have 3 fiction books you've got to read. We've got an old classic. We have got one that is very popular over the last few years, and we have got a third one that you have never heard of before, but you've got to read. I'm John Henderson with the Conservative Book Society, reviewing and recommending books from a conservative perspective. Let's get to it. All right, as I mentioned in the intro, we have 3 books you've got to read. Fiction books are kind of hard to come by. You don't know what you're getting with them. But we have the answers for you. First up is Anthem by Ayn Rand. Maybe it's Ayn Rand, whatever, however you say her name. Anne is brilliant. She wrote The Fountainhead. She wrote Atlas Shrugged. But this book came out first. It was written in published in 1936. It is a story about a dystopian future. There's been some sort of obviously wiping away of the whatever we think of as Western civilization, and basically all of civilization, in a new society has taken hold. A society in which you only are assigned numbers, not really even names. There's no individuality, there's no freedom. And she shows us the value of freedom by showing us an extreme example of life without freedom. And then the main character gets that freedom that he so craves and deserves. It is a classic, and it is really the foundations, the underpinnings of her philosophy called objectivism. I encourage you to read that book. It's a short read, but it'll kick you in the gut. Next up, we have Consent, and Consent was written by Ari Mendelsohn. This is a book you have probably never heard of before, but I highly encourage you to read it. If you want to read a book about a fiction book that is sort of a mirror reflection of what is going on in contemporary America, I encourage you to read this book. It is full of villains. It is full of a brilliant tech guy that is pulling the strings of power. The only caveat I would say, the only warning that I will give you about this book, because I don't want to give away the ending, is that it's a 3-part series. This is just the first in what's called the Kingmaker series. So it leaves a lot of questions at the end of this book. There are more questions than there are answers, but everything isn't wrapped up neatly in a bow when you finish that book. But there are great characters and a great plot. I can't wait to read the next one. And then last on the list is The Last Green Valley by Mark Sullivan. And Mark Sullivan has been around for a really long time. He's been writing books. He is a brilliant author. He wrote another book called Beneath the Scarlet Sky. But this one features a family living in Ukraine, and they are a German family living in Ukraine during the Second World War, and they have to make the decision if they're going to side with the Soviets or they're going to side with the Nazis. It's a gut-wrenching decision that they have to make. The trials and tribulations that they have to try to overcome on their way to trying to find freedom is it's just a fantastic book. The story is well written, and as many of his books are, it's a novel, but it is based on a true story. So those are 3 books that we encourage you to read, that we read this summer. If you have any books on your list, be sure to share them in the comments section. Also, like us on social media, follow along with us on social media so that you can get the next book recommendations for your list. I'm John Henderson with the Conservative Book Society. Thanks for watching.